Welcome back. I'm Yalda Hakim. Our top story on Impact today: after the sheer joy, the reality of how to rescue 12 boys trapped in a flooded Thai cave. Fears heavy rains forecast could raise the water levels, threatening the air pocket where they've taken refuge. Rescuers are now planning to teach the boys how to dive in the hope they can finally be reunited with their families.
It's unimaginable. I've been waiting for 10 days. I never imagined this day would come.
Banned from leaving Malaysia and now under arrest, the former Prime Minister Najib Razak is accused of pocketing millions from a government fund. And we'll also have all the latest excitement at the World Cup and upcoming matches.
Here in Russia, the last two places in the World Cup quarter-finals will be decided, with England, Colombia, Sweden and Switzerland all in action.
We begin the programme with the remarkable rescue effort underway in Thailand. 12 boys and their football coach are alive and well after being trapped for more than a week deep inside a flooded cave. Emergency food and medical supplies are being delivered to them, but the big question is how to get them all out. The army says they'll need to learn to dive or wait months for the floodwaters to recede. We'll hear from our correspondent at the scene shortly, but here's our first report from Richard Galpin.
How many of you? 13. Brilliant.
More than a week after becoming trapped deep inside the cave complex, the boys and their football coach are finally found by British rescue divers.
What day? Monday. Okay, but 1 week and Monday. You have been here 10 days. 10 days. You are very strong. Very strong.
They're weak from hunger, but managed to drink water from dripping stalactites. The breakthrough on Monday bringing a moment of absolute elation for the children's families.
It's unimaginable. I've been waiting for 10 days. I never imagined this day would come. I would like to thank the military, police and all the officials who came to help to find my son.
Today is the best day. I've been waiting for my son for so many days. I'm so excited. The first thing I will do is hug him.
But the expert diving teams from Thailand and around the world taking part in this rescue now have to work out how they'll get the boys and their coach out of the cave safely, and before monsoon rains cause more flooding.
What we will send down there is food, but we're not sure if they can eat since it's been 10 days. We still need to get them out, get them home.
It's in the far north of Thailand, in Chiang Rai, that the long Tham Luang cave complex lies. After entering, the group moved a long way inside, trying to get to high ground to escape the rising floodwater. And now to get out, they'll probably need to use scuba equipment through murky, narrow underwater passages. The rescue teams have to decide quickly if that's feasible or too risky for young children. Otherwise, the boys may have to wait months for the water levels to drop. The football team had cycled to the cave 10 days ago after a training session. Going inside, supposed to have been part of a birthday celebration. Although they've been found, getting them out is going to be very difficult. Richard Galpin, BBC News.
Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent Howard Johnson, who is by the caves. I asked him for the latest details on the rescue operation.
What we're seeing right now is Navy SEALs going to the boys with energy gels because they can't eat solids at the moment. They're trying to get their sugar levels back up. They've been in there for more than a week without food. We're also seeing that they're trying to improve the area where they're staying, this little ledge that's about 1 meter above the water level. This is a wet, damp, not very nice place to be, and they might have to be there for a little bit longer. So we're seeing teams helping to stock that area. They're talking about putting in enough food and water for 4 months to cover this monsoon season. If they can't get them out, then they'll have to stay where they are with that food supply. But there is this talk about the scuba rescue. We saw today an appeal for face masks, full face masks that would fit children, and also we saw that there was discussion about these tight bottlenecks. There were 2 tight bottlenecks that they found very difficult to get through. There's some discussion whether the boys will be able to fit through there with a guide. They might have to learn how to dive single-handedly through those sections. And we must remember that's around 5 kilometers, or somewhere between 3 to 5 kilometers into this 10-kilometer long cave complex behind me.
It's terrifying to think that some of these boys as young as 11 will now have to potentially, worst case scenario, learn to dive or even swim. We're being told that there are 7 divers down there, including a doctor and a nurse. But this truly, Howard, is an international effort.
Yes, this is a massive international effort. We've seen over the last week it builds in scale. I arrived here more than 5 days ago. I saw each day more and more people, more drills arriving, more pumps to pump more water out of this cave. Around 10,000 litres of water being pumped out every hour. They say that the water level is dropping by a centimetre an hour, and they're hoping that maybe if the rains hold off and they can pump the water out, there might be an easier way of getting the boys out. But we're also seeing other teams arriving, Australians, Japanese, Chinese divers, all helping the effort here in northern Thailand.
That was our correspondent, Howard Johnson, there. Well, Andy Eavis is former chair of the British Caving Association. He knows the divers who found the boys and their coach. He told me more about the extraordinary exchange when the emergency teams first made contact with the group.
I mean, that was the eureka moment, really, when they first got through and found them. And if you listen to it, it's John is saying how many, and they say 13, and he says brilliant. Well, it is, because I would have laid money on some of them being alive, but all of them being alive was a bit surprising.
And now, of course, the big question is the rescue effort, how to get these boys out. I mean, I was reading somewhere that they were draining up to 1.6 million litres of water.
Well, I suspect that's going to be very difficult, because it'll be a major river running in, and to get rid of that amount of water will probably be, pumping-wise, very difficult. I mean, they should try everything, but the whole thing hinges around the weather. I mean, people will be looking at the weather forecasts for that region, the catchment area of the cave, where the rain is going to fall and come into the cave, and that should decide their next course of action. If it's going to rain, the water's going to come up, they're going to have to resign themselves to really spending a while there. If there's a chance that the water is going to go down, it won't have to go down all that much to give them an airspace to get all the way through by being above the water, with at least their head above water. So it's very dependent on the weather and the rainfall.
I mean, we're told that, they have 4 months' worth of food supplies now, and that the option of diving out is the worst-case scenario. But what are some of the other options they may have?
Well, there's only 2 options, really. One is sitting it out, and I'm not sure whether it's likely to be 4 months, and the other is diving out. People have dived out in these sort of situations many times before. The thing that's unusual is the number of them and the age of them. Normally, these rescues are experienced cave explorers who have been in the wrong place at the wrong time and have been sitting above water, and they're dived out, but they're experienced old adult cavers. It's unusual to be children, and 13 of them. That's the unusual part, but it has been done before. And if you imagine a full face mask and some very experienced people around you, it's reasonably doable and reasonably safe. It sounds as though there's a couple of tight bits which will give them problems, but they should be able to have a couple of divers positioned there on each side of the tight bit to sort of help the children through. The fact they're small will be good, and they will obviously go one at a time with a couple of cave divers leading them through and following them through.
As you say, I mean, they are children, so the emotional toll that this must have taken, they've already been stuck down there for 10 days, and now it's uncertain, you know, whether the options they do have to get them out will work or not.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling their age may well be to their advantage because they haven't got the experience to realise all the potential downsides. And the fact that all 13 of them survived says that they didn't panic. And after a few days, your natural instinct is to say, what the heck, I'm going to die anyway, so I'll go for it and I'll try and get out. And that's when they die. You know, if they tried to get out through the river, they'd have died. They could easily, crawling around in complete darkness, they could have easily have fallen down a cliff or whatever in the area that they're in. So they're obviously pretty clued up and pretty together to all still be there and still be alive. So I think that looked well towards them being calm and collected. And if they have to dive out, you know, I personally think they've got a pretty good chance of 100% success.
That was Andy Eavis. He was the former chair of the British Caving Association. And you can find much more on the incredible rescue of those boys and their coach on our website. Just go to the usual place, bbc.com/news, where you can find details of how the rescue unfolded and what still needs to be done to bring the boys safely back to the surface. Now to other stories making headlines here on Impact. The Archbishop of Adelaide, Philip Wilson, has been sentenced by an Australian court to a maximum of 12 months home detention for covering up the sexual abuse of children. The offences date back 40 years. He's the most senior member of the Catholic Church ever to be convicted of such an offence. The Maltese authorities have detained a second migrant rescue ship. The crew of the Sea Watch say it was refused permission to leave port with no reason given. Last week, Malta impounded the Lifeline, a rescue ship carrying several hundred migrants, accusing it of having broken maritime law. South Korea has sent 2 basketball teams to Pyongyang to play friendly matches against sides from the north. They'll be the first such games for 15 years. It's part of the wider sporting rapprochement between the two countries, which has seen them enter some joint teams at the Winter Olympics and the forthcoming Asia Games. Now, Malaysian police have arrested the country's former Prime Minister Najib Razak in connection with the disappearance of millions of dollars from a government investment fund. He was taken away from his home in a convoy of unmarked cars and will be officially charged on Wednesday. Mr. Najib has consistently denied taking any money. Here's our business correspondent Karishma Vaswani.
You've got to remember that just a few months ago, before the general election, the former Prime Minister Najib Razak was feeling pretty confident. He's consistently denied any wrongdoing in the 1MDB scandal. But since that shock result, since that election back in May, which he lost to another former Prime Minister, Mahathir Mohamad, he has been under investigation in this 1MDB case. And as a result, the residences linked to his home have been searched. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of luxury goods have been found there. And today, this arrest that we understand from authorities in Malaysia will lead to a subsequent charging at the Kuala Lumpur courts on Wednesday. And what we understand the charge to be about is an abuse of power at a unit of a company that is related to 1MDB, that state-run investment fund that he set up a few years ago.
Karishma, I mean, just that raid that you're talking about on his home last week, it was something like 400 handbags, a huge array of jewelry. How are Malaysians reacting to the idea that, you know, their former Prime Minister, for example, potentially used government funds to do this?
Well, you know, we have to underline the fact that these are allegations at this point in time, and in fact that the charge that he's expected to face tomorrow are to do with a unit of 1MDB, and that amount of money is something around $10 million. But yes, Yalda, you're absolutely right. You know, the disenchantment, the disgust, I think it would be fair to say, that has been expressed by some Malaysians online and certainly in the country is what is thought to have led to Mr. Najib losing the election back in May, despite his best efforts, his administration's best efforts, to put on a good show and to try and win that election. And I think that is certainly going to be the key sentiment going forward. The current administration, led by Mahathir Mohamad, has consistently said that they will bring the perpetrators of whoever lost money at 1MDB to justice, even if it means bringing the former Prime Minister and a protege, it must be said, of Mr. Mahathir Mohamad and putting him behind bars. But it remains to be seen whether that does actually happen. It will be a long and drawn-out court procedure, I imagine, once the charges get underway tomorrow.
That was our Asia business correspondent, Karishma Vaswani. Now, stay with us here on Impact. Still to come.
England, Colombia, Sweden and Switzerland are all in action today. Which two will win a place in the World Cup quarter-final?
Hello, you're watching Impact. I'm Yalda Hakim, and of course, this is our favourite business presenter, Aaron.
I didn't even pay you. Didn't even pay you for that.
Charming you.
Hey, a busy day with China and the US, but in particular about, China Mobile. It's the world's biggest phone carrier. I think there's something like 900 million people who use that service. Yes. They've been wanting to get into the United States to offer telecom services. They've been trying, but the Trump administration has come out now and sort of said, nope, no license. We don't want you on our soil. They're citing national security concerns. So this is all part of this big tussle, right, between the trade tussle stuff, with the deadline looming on Friday, by the way, for these tariffs, both sides to do their tariffs. So we're talking about that. Glencore, mining, a huge mining commodity trader, mining company and commodity trader. They've received a subpoena from the US government.
Right.
Looking for documents. There's concern that there could be money, might be money laundering, but there's no accusations, no allegations, but that's sent their share price down some 12%. So people, investors are very concerned about all of that. Roger Federer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Do you know his new sponsor? Uniqlo.
Yeah.
The Japanese clothing company.
But with Nike for since 1994,
Absolutely,
right from the very beginning.
Very heavily connected to Nike. So I'm going to find out what went wrong there. But Uniqlo, apparently it hasn't been disclosed this sum, but over $300 million for 10 years.
Incredible.
Uniqlo, anyway. And that could get it into the sporting market because it's not really known for its sporting clothes. And Panini stickers.
What are these?
Panini stickers. See, another Aussie. I hadn't heard of them either.
Yeah, what are they?
I've got the Panini people out there watching. These are football, soccer stickers. You collect them. You can make albums out of them, and open them up and see which ones you get. And cool. It's big business. It's big business. Sold in about 1 million outlets around the world, 100 countries.
Wow.
They're telling me to get off.
All right,
It's
fine.
Panini stickers.
It's Panini
stickers.
It's fun.
I'll get you one.
Okay, deal. Thanks, Aaron. Now to the World Cup, which continues to bring us great games, great goals and no shortage of surprises. After yesterday's high drama, will it be more of the same today? Let's go straight now to Regini, who joins us from Moscow to tell us what's happening. Regini.
So, Yalda, we will look ahead to today's matches briefly, but I have to mention last night's action. 2 matches, but the one that everyone was talking about was Japan losing to Belgium. Now, we can bring you a photo that's been trending on social media today, Yalda, of the Japan team's dressing room. This is how they left it, completely spotless, with a note which reads Spasiba. And the Russian that I've learned so far means I know what that word means, and that means thank you. What a gracious losing team they are. Now, they lost 3-2 to Belgium in a very dramatic match, and the other match yesterday saw Brazil go through to the quarterfinals. With all the details, Austin Hellwood reports.
Back from the brink, Belgium.
2 more places in the quarterfinals. The last 2 up for grabs will be decided today. The first match, Sweden versus Switzerland in St. Petersburg. The second match here in Moscow, England versus Colombia. Now, I'm joined by an England fan, Vicky. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Hi,
and
nice
Sebastian, supporting Colombia.
How are you?
Thanks for coming on the show. Now, I'm not going to ask you whether you think your team's going to win, because we know that you both think your team's going to win.
Of course.
What will you do if your team loses, Vicky?
I think I'll still have a party. We've had a fabulous time here anyway, so we partied in, and if we have to, we will party out.
And how long are you in Russia for?
We go home in 2 days.
You just come for this. Have you got a ticket to the match?
Yes, of course. We did Kaliningrad as well, and then we came out for here, and then we have a definite ticket for the final. So yeah, if we get there, we'll be back for the final.
Wow, tickets for the final, lucky woman. Now, Sebastian, are you going to the match today as well?
I am going to the match.
You are. Have you seen Colombia in any other games?
I have.
So this is interesting. You've been following around, following the team?
Yes, I've been here a week ago. I got here a week ago, yes. I'm staying till semi-finals.
And how would you describe the atmosphere here?
Amazing, amazing. I love Russia, I love Moscow, I love the people, very nice, kind, they help us. Everything we need, we just ask anybody on the street, and they give you directions, they give you numbers, anything.
What were you expecting before you came here?
It's my first time at a World Cup, so I didn't know what it's going to be like. So first time, amazing.
First World Cup for you, Vicky?
Oh no, I've done quite a few World Cups.
Yeah,
we follow England all over.
Oh,
so
wow,
yeah, me and my husband, we just go wherever they're playing, off we go. We work our holidays around football.
Well, I will be following England tonight. I'm wearing red for a reason, I should say,
good,
Vicky.
yeah.
That is because I am going to be at the game tonight supporting England. Sorry, Sebastian, but I will say this is just how much the spirit of this city has been. As I was walking around, I met someone the other day, told them I was supporting England. They still insisted, I'll just bring this out so our viewers can see it. They still insisted that I had this. I'm not sure I need it though, Vicky, but anyway.
You do need it. You do need it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we shall see, won't we? Sebastian and Vicky.
We feel local here.
See you at the game tonight.
Okay.
Well, I should just say that we're going to throw a picture on the screen, Yalda, and this is of ballerinas at the world-famous Bolshoi watching the World Cup. This just gives you an idea of just how much World Cup fever has gripped this city and this country and, of course, the world. Now, not just in the Bolshoi watching on a small mobile phone, but on the Russian metro here in Moscow. They've had TV screens showing the matches so people don't miss a single kick, and restaurants and cafes have put in extra screens. So really, this country is absolutely gripped. I am lucky, of course, to be going to my first World Cup game today, and can't wait for it, Yalda.
And you're talking there about all the different images going viral. I saw some images of you going viral. You were attempting to take photographs with people from right across the world to put it up on Twitter.
That's right. I'm just trying to demonstrate and show to my followers on Twitter just how many different countries from around the world people have travelled for this World Cup. And I think I'm on number 52 or 53 in terms of the number of countries. I've already got England and Colombia. I would have had Vicky and Sebastian in my photo gallery. Today I got Tajikistan, Yalda, and I also got Nigeria, I think. So I'm building up my collection, still looking for South Korea. Haven't found any of South Korean fans. I think they've all gone home after they crashed out of the tournament.
Great. Well, good luck with that quest. Regini, thanks so much for all the latest there from Moscow. Let's just take you back now and show you some images from that top story that we did, that incredible news that 12 teenagers and their football coach were found in a flooded cave after being trapped there for more than a week. We're told that 7 divers, including a doctor and a nurse, are with the team. As soon as we have more information, we will bring that to you here on the program. See you shortly.